making a waste-free future happen together. Your partner for change, CalRecycle is advancing world-leading reforms to cut waste and build circular use systems for all materials. Join California's climate fight and a shift to a circular use system economy. CalRecycle's monthly public meeting starts now.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to go straight into our agenda today. Thank you for joining us at CalRecycle's January 2025 public meeting, where we share important progress and updates as we work together to build a circular system that cuts waste and reuses all materials and products. We just wanted to acknowledge the wildfires in Los Angeles, and that's why we're taking a little bit different tone in our meeting today, and I'll say more about that in a moment. But here's the safety and language access message.
In the event of a fire alarm, we are required to evacuate. Take your valuables and use the exit signs. Do not use the elevators. If you cannot use the stairs, you will be directed to a protective vestibule. Exercise caution while crossing the street.
Language shouldn't be a barrier when it comes to protecting our air, water, and land. CalRecycle is simulcasting this meeting in both English and Spanish. Click the public meeting banner at the top of calrecycle.ca.gov for a link to our webcast in English and Spanish. If you're attending this meeting in person in Fire and Share Auditorium, we have Spanish interpretation devices available. Let our team on the left-hand side of the dais know if you need one. El idioma no debe de ser una barrera cuando se trata de proteger nuestro aire, nuestra agua y tierra. CalRecycle está transmitiendo simultáneamente esta junta pública en español e inglés. Puede encontrar el enlace en línea en español e inglés en la parte superior de nuestra página web calrecycle.ca.gov. Si asiste a esta junta en persona en el auditorio Fire and Share, tenemos dispositivos de traducción al español disponibles. Solo informe a nuestro equipo al lado izquierdo del mostrador de presentación si necesita uno.
So CalRecycle, CalRecycle had an update to our Zoom call-in information this morning. So if you plan to call in, please consult our monthly public meeting page to get the accurate call-in information. And now we'll have a video on our public comments.
California wants your input on recycling and trash pollution issues. Join CalRecycle's decision-making process by making a live public comment on any of today's monthly public meeting agenda items in person or by phone. Microphones are available for those of you in the room with in-person comments. If you're joining remotely, you can call in with your comment. Just click the public meeting banner at the top of our website, then click the public comments button for step-by-step caller instructions.
To help with our Spanish language live interpreter, this meeting we will work to be a little bit slower in our pace and briefly pause after each item to give our interpreters time to relay the information. Also, you'll have a chance to offer live public comments throughout the meeting, and we'll let you know when to call in about each agenda item. So please call in now if you have comments on the upcoming items only, the director's report or disaster debris recovery operations. If your comments are for anything later in the meeting, then it just takes us longer to try to speak to every person if you call in too soon. So our first agenda item today is the director's report. CalRecycle Director Zoe Heller and CalRecycle's Deputy Director over Disaster Debris Recovery Operations, Jen Hogan, are on the ground in Los Angeles supporting wildfire survivors and other agencies helping with recovery. CalRecycle also has been supporting communications and media on site at the Pasadena FEMA Recovery Center this past week. Our thoughts and support are with the LA wildfire survivors and all those impacted by this tragedy. CalRecycle Chief Deputy Director Mindy McIntyre is with us this morning with our director's report. Good morning, Mindy.
Thank you, Maria. And we do have a lot to get through today, but first recognizing all of those who are struggling with the fires and those who are recovering, but also those who are fighting to get them under control at the moment, and that's still happening. So I am filling in for Director Heller, but also for Deputy Director Hogan, as they're both down south. So bear with me while I read some of their notes that I did not prepare, but I'm sure they're great. We do have a number of workshops coming up, and you'll hear more details on those, but we have 2 on the same day, so just making sure people note that there will be 2 on that same day, 1 in the morning. It's February 3rd, and the first one in the morning is the SB 343 Materials Characterization workshop, and then following that in the afternoon, for those who want to stay all day, there's SB 54, the workshop on the source reduction baseline. The other workshop is this Friday on the zero waste plan. So looking forward to seeing lots of faces at all of those, all 3 of those. And we'll have more details on that later in the agenda. Now for Deputy Director Hogan, do we have the PowerPoint up? Yeah, okay, sorry. The debris removal update. Again, our thoughts are with the people of Los Angeles recovering from the recent tragic wildfires and continued windstorms. And as we know, the fires, again, have not yet been fully contained, so still working on figuring out the scope of the disaster. Our disaster debris recovery team is coordinating with our state, local, and federal partners and prepared to support the recovery goals of Los Angeles in any way we can to be the most helpful. CalRecycle's permitting team is also working closely with the local enforcement agency in reviewing emergency waivers for wildfire debris disposal, and we'll hear an update from that team coming up. Next slide. Okay, our debris removal team has grown to support multiple recovery operations at the same time. We currently have incident management teams in Butte and Kern County on existing programs. CalRecycle was tasked with debris removal management for 4 of California's 2024 fires. Crews have started bulk debris removal in Lake County's Boyles fires. Crews are preparing to begin debris removal for the Thompson Fire in Butte County following initial site assessments and asbestos abatement. The Pirate Fire was the state's 4th largest fire by acreage. Crews have cleared 64 home sites there to date. For the Boral Fire in Kern County, 84 of the 126 homes enrolled have been cleared of debris. That's 2/3 of the properties. Back to you, Maria.
Thank you, Mindy. Now to public comments. Do we have any public comments on the director's report or disaster debris removal operations program update? First, we'll take comments from the public present in our Sacramento, Cali, PA headquarters meeting room today. After that, we'll take comments from those participating by phone. And again, please check in with our web page on. If you cannot reach us with the number you have, please check in. We had to update the monthly public Zoom meeting this morning, and so you may not have the most up-to-date phone number. So please check on that web page that you can reach by clicking on the banner at the top of our homepage. Are there any comments in the room?
No callers at this time.
Okay. And so now looking ahead, if you want to call in about the following topics, please call in now. And again, check that homepage link and go to the monthly public meeting page to get the most up-to-date Zoom call-in number. The items we're about to address are plastic and packaging pollution prevention law implementation, the Truth in Labeling Material Characterization Study revised preliminary findings for SB 343, and the beverage container recycling dealer cooperative updates. So please call in now to address those. And so last month, CalRecycle published key reports and findings to advance circular economy reforms. Deputy Director of Circular Economy, Michelle Martin, is here now with important updates. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Maria. Good morning, everybody. As part of the initial statewide needs assessment for plastic and packaging EPR reforms, CalRecycle estimated the source reduction baseline and published 3 documents. First is the needs assessment cumulative report, source reduction baseline, a supporting technical report, a corresponding appendix on methodology. For more information, please visit the needs assessment webpage. On December 31st, 2024, CalRecycle published updates to the covered materials category list. This publication updates recyclability, compostability determinations for categories of material covered by SB 54. This update did not change any of the categories as compared to the July 1st, 2024 version. For more information, please visit the covered materials categories webpage. CalRecycle plans to host an informational session on February 3rd from 1 to 4 p.m. in the Sierra Hearing Room to present on the source reduction baseline and updates to the covered materials category list. You can participate in person or check out the live stream online. CalRecycle is currently reviewing comments received during the last public comment period, which closed on December 17th, in order to determine if further changes to the regulations are necessary. The Packaging Producer Responsibility Advisory Board held a meeting on January 17th, 2025 to discuss recommendations regarding barriers and solutions to a circular economy consistent with the Act, which they plan to submit to CalRecycle as part of their statutory obligations. And the advisory board's next meeting is scheduled for February 21st. And next slide. So on January 13th, CalRecycle submitted the beverage container recycling dealer registration and dealer cooperative rulemaking package for SB 1013 to the Office of Administrative Law for review and approval. The proposed regulations identify a dealer registration process, a dealer cooperative stewardship plan, reporting and operational requirements. The Office of Administrative Law's deadline for review is February 26th, and updates will be shared on CalRecycle's proposed regulations and beverage container recycling program general information email lists. Thank you, and back to you, Maria.
Thank you, Michelle. California's Truth in Labeling Law establishes new standards for recycling claims on products to help inform consumer choices. Policy Deputy Director Clara Vezex joins us now with our next agenda item. Good morning, Clara.
Good morning, Maria. So on December 31st, 2024, CalRecycle published the SB 343 Material Characterization Study Revised Preliminary Findings. It's a long title. This is an update to the initial preliminary findings published in December of 2023. The revised preliminary findings report includes refined analysis, additional data tables, and other changes based on additional data collection and in response to public comments. The report also includes published comments and letters received from interested parties based on the December 2023 report. CalRecycle plans to host a public meeting on February 3rd from 9 a.m. to noon to present on the revised finding report. You will be able to participate virtually and in person. More details will be sent through the material characterization listserv. Back to you, Maria.
Thank you, Clara. And now to public comments. Do we have any public comments on the Plastic and Packaging Pollution Prevention Law implementation, material characterization revised preliminary findings for SB 343, or the beverage container recycling dealer cooperatives? Again, first we'll take comments from the public present in our HQ meeting room today. And then after that, we'll take comments from those participating by phone. Again, if you are participating by phone, please make sure you go to CalRecycle's homepage and click to the monthly public meeting page. That will give you the most up-to-date call-in number, because we did have to make a change before the meeting this morning. So now we'll go ahead and take the comments in the room. Good morning.
Good morning. Evan Edgar, live from Sacramento on behalf of the California Compost Coalition. I'd like to bring up something that was taken off the agenda. Earlier this month, there was a state of recycling disposal was on the agenda and it was removed. This report used to come up in September, and then October, and now November, December. And this is calendar year 2023 data. And now it won't be available till February 2025. This report's a great report with top-down data. A lot of good information on the export market. So you guys do a great job there. But so much is missing, so much more can be done with this annual report. The industry and local government as a whole provides a lot of data to CalRecycle. The EARs, every August 1st, we provide that, RDRS, as well as the grants. You know, so much data goes into this box, but we don't see it coming back out. And this annual report is a lost opportunity. If you look at the PRC for existing law, we don't need to pass another law to have a law, but there's so many laws on the books right now what should be in this annual report. It's not. You know, market development plan, that's an annual update that never happens. I've been talking about wood waste for the last 8 years since we lost 1 million tons in the market, and there hasn't been a wood waste market development report since '95. Another great opportunity that's missed is not tapping into the expertise of the Recycling Commission. They would be a great asset to help and guide like a commission does. I think they were disbanded 2.5 years ago and haven't met. So that's another lost opportunity for input and engagement. So, and this report has a lot of good stuff in it, but it could be so much better. If you look at 2025, right now we're supposed to be at 75% recovery for AB 341 and 1383. Maybe we'll be at 42, 43, we don't know on 2023. But why aren't we at 75%? This report should be talking about it. A report to the legislature is an annual thing you guys should be doing about 75%. That's what the Recycling Commission was set up to do, and they haven't met. So that's too bad. I know the Ledge Analyst Office is working on a 1383 report. Compost Coalition provided some data, but hopefully they're reaching out to CalRecycle and looking forward to what that data looks like, seeing the progress towards 1383. We appreciate all the great grants that you guys have put out a couple of years ago. 270 million was in the budget 2 years ago, and we're using it for 1383 with local government, doing a lot of good work out there. But the last 2 years, there have been zero money in the budget for under cap and trade for infrastructure or for 1383. That's 2 years in a row, and most likely nothing will happen next year. That Prop 4 bond measure that raised $10 billion had zero for CalRecycle programs, but we're fortunate to have $36 million for that made the budget for Healthy Soils Initiative. So we appreciate that. So I guess I'm up here. I'd like to get an advanced copy of this State of Recycling report. I asked for it under public request. I shouldn't have to do that. It should be readily available before meetings, not the day of. So when you guys do bring it back in February 2025, please post it 10 days in advance or 5 days in advance to give the public a chance to look at it. Don't post it the morning of the meeting, because we can't have that engagement and public testimony that you guys thrive and want, and we're only to give it, but we don't get the information back in order to have the input. Looking forward to that report next month. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Evan. And we did receive your email as well.
Are there any other comments in the room today? Okay, do we have any comments and call-in comments?
Yes, we currently have 3 calls on the line. We're going to start with the first person in line is 6607. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Please state your name, affiliation, and go ahead with your comment.
Yes, this is Leonard Lang. I work with recyclers and processors up and down the state, and I was unable to get in the beginning of the meeting. Can I ask a question that would have normally gone then, right now?
Yes, go ahead.
With the disaster problems, especially now exacerbated in Southern California, I presume that you're going to have to gear up staffing for that. And it seems to me that there has been difficulty in the past getting competent and qualified people. Do you see any problems in getting that staffed properly?
Hello, Mr. Ling. CalRecycle is ready with our disaster debris team as well as with our support of the LEA, and we don't anticipate a staffing issue at this point. But of course, we won't know our full role until we know the full scope of the disaster. So we are ready when we're asked.
Okay, thank you. My next issue will be directed towards policy, and we haven't gotten there yet. So if you'll bring me back then, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Leonard. Next caller is 6335. Going to ask you to unmute. $63.35.
Good morning, Nick Lapis with Californians Against Waste. Quick question for Clara. on the SB 343 workshop on February 3rd, will the department be making any changes to the findings based on the input from the workshop?
Good morning, Nick. We may in the future, but not currently, not in the moment of the workshop.
Yeah, thanks, Dick. We are going to take the public input, and as you know, the 343 report has been out for a while, so we'll definitely be considering the input we get, and then we'll have a plan after we get that input.
And if I could just make a quick editorial comment, that's basically what happened last year, and there were issues raised in the workshop after the report was released, and I think were eventually addressed in this year's version, but some of them were, but it wasn't really clear what the process was for changes. So as you're presenting on February 3rd, it'll be helpful to have a clear expectation for folks of, we're having the workshop today, we're taking comments until X date, and then if warranted, we will be issuing updates or whatever your internal process will be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to note also that the comments are due 2 weeks after the workshop, and all comments received by that date will be considered for the final report. Do we have another call?
Yes, our third caller on the line is 5206. I'm going to ask you to unmute now, please. (5206). Caller 5206.
You can check back with the caller at the end. So looking ahead, please call in now if you have comments on the upcoming items, which include grants and loans, carpet stewardship program updates, and permits and waivers. So now we'll turn to our grants and loans, which includes funding for communities to cut waste and increase reuse through the installation of reusable water stations. Let's see a little video about this.
More Californians are turning to water refill stations to quench their thirst and cut plastic waste.
Recycling is good, but if we can prevent the need for it, it's even better.
And CalRecycle grants can help cover the cost.
We went right after this grant because we saw the value in it. The life cycle of a water bottle is a very resource-heavy, carbon emission-heavy process, from the extraction of the oil, creation of the plastic, the creation of the plastic water bottle, filling of the water bottle, transportation of the water bottle. You buy it at the store, bring it home, now you have the water bottle to recycle. But what if we didn't have to go through that whole life cycle to begin with?
With $1.5 million available each year, California cities, counties, schools, nonprofits, and tribes can reduce plastic pollution and save cash with state-funded water refill stations.
There's so many benefits of having access to water in public places. People will stay longer, exercise longer.
In Humboldt County, Eureka residents can ditch single-use disposables for reusable water bottles with 15 grant-funded refill stations at public parks and recreation areas.
As filling a reusable water bottle becomes more convenient than spending the money on the plastic water bottles, it's going to justify even more for people to bring their water bottle because they see that there.
Check out CalRecycle's funding page to see which types of projects are eligible for grants.
And now Deputy Director Michelle Martin is back with grant award announcements and program updates.
Okay, several to announce today. So CalRecycle is awarding $8.9 million to 347 applicants as part of the Beverage Container Recycling City County Payment Program. Funds will be used for things like water refill stations that you just saw, recycling projects in underserved areas, neighborhood drop-off beverage container recycling programs, CRV recycling bins, and more. The program provides annual funding to California cities and counties for beverage container recycling projects that assist in achieving an 80% recycling rate for the state. We're also announcing a Farm and Ranch Grant Award for one recipient, totaling $119,626. Since 1997, CalRecycle has awarded over $13 million in farm and ranch grants to clear over 1,000 sites of tires, appliances, vehicles, construction debris, and other trash. And next, $6 million are going to 181 used oil program payments. The used oil payment program provides funding to assist local governments with developing and maintaining used oil and filter collection and recycling programs in their communities. And then finally, there are $1.5 million available in the Waste Tire Amnesty Grant Program. Grant funds will help with collection events in convenient locations for the public to bring their tires in non-commercial quantities at no charge. The grant application process, including eligibility and evaluation, will remain the same as last year, with the addition of including amnesty events located on lands of qualifying tribal entities in rank 1. Eligible grant applicants include local governments, which are cities and counties, special districts, qualifying and tribal entities, and joint power authorities. The maximum grant award for this program is $40,000 for an individual applicant and $90,000 for a regional applicant. In the event that the program is oversubscribed, applicants within each of the ranks will be evaluated for award based on the lowest cost per tire. Staff anticipating posting the notice of funds available in March with applications due in April and announcing awards in the fall. Back to you, Maria.
Thanks, Michelle. We have a few materials management and local assistance updates next from Deputy Director Kara Morgan.
Thanks, Maria. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to start off with Madera County's 5-year review report for its countywide integrated waste management plan. Madera County submitted all of its planning documents for a review, and there were no revisions needed at this time, and this item has been approved. Next, I'd like to provide a big thanks to everyone, our team members and stakeholders who participated in the latest chat with CalRecycle on January 15th. These are popular 1383 webinar chats where our stakeholders, jurisdictions, this last one was food recovery focused, share information on what their challenges are and how they're overcoming those challenges, best practices. This ongoing series provides a space to really share with each other, as well as it provides CalRecycle an opportunity to share with stakeholders any updates or new tools that we've developed. As always, CalRecycle and our team is available to answer questions. And also, if there are new opportunities for sharing, we're always looking for new ideas for the chats. Remember that the Chat with CalRecycle recordings are available on our YouTube channel in case you missed it. And please subscribe to the listserv to check it out on our events calendar for the next chat. Moving on, we have 2 carpet stewardship program items today, and Program Manager Cynthia Dunn joins us now with those updates. Hey, Cynthia.
Thanks, Kara. Good morning, everyone. The first update is that CalRecycle received CARE's 2023 annual report on September 1st, 2024, and posted it for public comments. CalRecycle's director is going to determine whether or not the report is compliant or non-compliant based on the requirements of statute, regulations, and CARE's plan, and her decision will be announced at the February monthly public meeting. The next item is on December 23rd, 2024, CalRecycle's director approved CARE's differential assessments plan amendment, and the increased differential assessment amounts will go into effect on February 1st. For more updates, please subscribe to our GovDelivery email list and check out our website. I'll send it back to Maria. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. So next, the solid waste and tire facilities permits and emergency waivers will be addressed. And here's a quick overview of California facility standards and a statewide facility permit update from Environmental Program Manager Paulina Lawrence.
Protecting the health of Californians and their land, food, water, and air is a big job. Local, state, and federal agencies play different roles to enforce public health and environmental safety standards. In California, solid waste local enforcement agencies process applications, issue, and enforce permits for solid waste facilities. These include landfills, transfer stations, compost facilities, or similar operations. CalRecycle must verify permits are consistent with state requirements. Permits can only address areas within the authority of local enforcement agencies and CalRecycle. Check out the link below for more detailed information. Emergency waivers allow temporary changes to solid waste permit requirements in response to local or state disasters. Local enforcement agencies may approve the waivers, which are good for up to 120 days and may be extended. CalRecycle must review approved waivers and can condition, limit, suspend, or terminate them. Check out the link for more detailed information. For waste tire facilities, CalRecycle processes applications, issues and enforces waste tire permits. These include requirements to make sure tires are stored and processed in a way that reduces potential threats from fire and disease-carrying vectors like mosquitoes. Check out the link for more detailed information.
For those solid waste facilities permit action items and waste tire facility permit action items that were concurred on from last month's meeting, from Merced County, the department concurred on December 19th, 2024, a revised solid waste facilities permit for Highway 59 landfill. Action was needed December 24th, 2024. For Monterey County, the department concurred on December 19th, 2024, a modified solid waste facilities permit for Converted Organics, LLC. Action was needed December 29th, 2024. For Santa Clara County, the department concurred on December 23rd, 2024, a modified solid waste facilities permit for Guadalupe Recycling and Disposal Facility. Action was needed December 30th, 2024. For Los Angeles County, the department concurred on December 24th, 2024, a revised solid waste facilities permit for Edco Recycling and Transfer. Action was needed January 14th, 2025. Continuing on this month's agenda, for Kern County, US Borax Inc. This is a modified solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed February 28, 2025. For Monterey County, Madison Lane Material Recycling Center. This is a new minor waste tire facility permit. Action is needed February 26, 2025. For Monterey County, AgroThrive Inc. This is a revised solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed January 31st, 2025. New and not on this month's agenda for San Joaquin County, K Export. This is a new minor waste tire facility permit. Action is needed July 8, 2025. Preliminary review of the permit application indicates the following. This is a new minor waste tire facility permit, which will allow for the facility to store up to 4,999 waste tires at any one time on the premises. The TPID number is 1955763. The application was accepted on January 9th, 2025, and the department has until July 8th, 2025 to issue the new minor waste tire facility permit. The waivers that the department has received from the December public monthly meeting. For Ventura County, Tolan Road Landfill. On January 3rd, 2025, the Ventura County Resource Management Agency, Environmental Health Division, Local Enforcement Agency, granted an emergency waiver of the permitted maximum tonnage and traffic volume until May 2nd, 2025. This is due to the emergency resulting from the mountain fire. For Riverside County, El Sobrante Landfill. On January 9th, 2025, the Riverside County Department of Environmental Health, Local Enforcement Agency, granted an emergency waiver of the permitted maximum tonnage and traffic volume until May 9th, 2025. This is due to the emergency resulting from the Palisades fire. For Riverside County, Badlands Sanitary Landfill. On January 14, 2025, the Riverside County Department of Environmental Health Local Enforcement Agency granted an emergency waiver of the permitted maximum tonnage and traffic volume until May 14, 2025. This is due to the emergency resulting from the Palisades fire. Also for Riverside County, Lamb Canyon Sanitary Landfill. On January 14, 2025, the Riverside County Department of Environmental Health Local Enforcement Agency granted an emergency waiver of the permitted maximum tonnage and traffic volume until May 14, 2025. This is due to the emergency resulting from the Palisades fire. For the City of Vernon, Innovative Waste Control. On January 9, 2025, the City of Vernon Health and Environmental Control Department, Local Enforcement Agency, granted an emergency waiver of the storage time of solid waste until February 8, 2025. This is due to the emergency resulting from fires.
And now we will have Environmental Program Manager Paulina Lawrence, who will give us updates for additional waivers that they have come in this month. Good morning, Paulina.
Good morning, Maria. Hello, everyone. We have several that we received for Los Angeles County. On January 14, 2025, the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health Solid Waste Management Program, Local Enforcement Agency, granted emergency waivers of the storage time of solid waste until March 15, 2025. This is due to the emergency resulting from the fires for the following locations: East Los Angeles Recycling and Transfer Station, Bel Art Waste Transfer Station, American Waste Transfer Station, and Compton Recycling and Transfer Station. Also for Los Angeles County, on January 15th, the Los Angeles County Local Enforcement Agency granted an emergency waiver for the permitted daily tonnage until May 15th, 2025, due to the emergency resulting from the windstorms for Burbank Landfill Number 3 Organic Waste Transfer Facility. And then lastly, for Los Angeles County, for City Terrence Recycling and Waste Transfer Station, on January 17th, 2025, the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health Local Enforcement Agency granted an emergency waiver for the storage time for solid waste until March 18th, 2025, and this is due to the emergency resulting from the fires. Back to you, Maria.
Thank you so much, Paulina. So that's the end of our agenda items today. You can find more information on any of today's agenda items. Just go to CalRecycle's homepage and click on the public meeting web banner at the top of the page if you're watching the webcast live. If you're watching the meeting recording, then please go halfway down CalRecycle's homepage for a link to the agenda and associated public notices under monthly public meeting. So now is the time for our final public comments. Again, if you are going to call in on Zoom, please check our monthly public meeting webpage by clicking through on the homepage banner at the top of the page, because we did have an update to the phone number that had to happen right before the meeting started. But first, we'll take comments from the public present in our SAC Cal EPA headquarters meeting room today. After that, we'll take comments from those participating by phone. And for those of you on the phone, as a reminder, please, your microphones will stay muted until you're called on by the last 4 digits of your phone number. If you'd like to be aware of what exactly is happening live on the Zoom call, you can listen in on that Zoom call instead of watching the webcast, because the webcast is usually 1 to 2 minutes delayed. So also please mute your webcast to avoid potential feedback issues. So now we will take any in-person comments. Were there any comments today in the room? Please feel free to walk to the mic.
Good morning. First, our thoughts and prayers go out to those affected by the fires in SoCal. My name is Mark Pierre, and I'm president of Pour Away. Portaway is the largest manufacturer of liquid diversion products in the U.S. Our products have been placed in over 900 K through 12 schools, and the number of placements is expected to double this year with a relationship with LAUSD. With me today is one of our close partners, JC Levitt of Simply Recycle. You may know JC as one of your beverage container redemption grant recipients. Two individuals that are not in attendance but are deeply involved in a project I'm going to talk about are Tony Alameda, who is the Maintenance and Operations Director at Elk Grove Unified School District. EGUSD is comprised of 68 schools and 62,000 students. Clifford Robertson, Maintenance and Operations Director of Folsom Cordova USD. FCUSD is comprised of 36 schools and 20,000 students. The reason for my visit is to share some exciting news with CalRecycle's leadership. JC and I, together with Tony and Cliff, plan to develop a proof of concept. The proof of concept is developed the proof of concept is to develop and implement new processes to increase beverage container redemption in K through 12 schools. To ensure we accurately collect data, Simply Recycle will be the primary point of collection and processing. We expect the POC to last a minimum of 90 days, but this could go on through the end of the year. Our goal is to answer a few questions. Can a school district adopt new recycling initiatives to increase their collection volume? If successful, can this process be replaced and implemented in other K through 12 districts? Is it possible to create a speedier and more efficient container processing experience? Would data support a business case for reverse vending machines, RVMs, on school campuses? We look forward to sharing some of the collected data that we're going to get during your next CalRecycle meeting. I'd like to add, all of us believe establishing strong recycling habits with our youth is the gateway to recycling mindsets moving forward. I welcome any of your questions.
Thank you very much. That's a lot of good information. I think, Amy might have some good input on how schools can interact with the program, and perhaps Michelle as well with the dealer cooperatives if there's an opportunity there. But
Great.
You had a lot of details there, so I think it would be really helpful if you sent us an email or a letter, and we can go ahead and have a meeting to talk through some of the ideas and where it might fit within the program.
Sure. Could I send that to Amy and then she disperse it amongst everybody?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for my time.
You.
We have one more comment.
Yeah, Shirley Frerichs, Newhata County, and I'm so happy to know about this because CRVs is one of my things. How do we get it? Unfortunately, I'm just wowed with how much you have to deal with, particularly with all the fire and stuff. That was one of my first thoughts. I thought, oh my God, what do they do with all that stuff, on the ground, and it's toxic and so that. Because CRVs is something I personally. I have been working on, and I appreciate your people, because last time I was here, I said this, and, I was in conversation with staff for like 3 or 4 weeks over trying to figure this whole CRV thing out, and how do we get it going where we are. So I really appreciated their help. And unfortunately, when we got to the end of the conversation, there was this 5-mile radius thing that basically it's convenience zone, but unfortunately it's not convenient for us because of the way that it is laid out. He said, okay, that's the way it is, but somehow I want to get, this CRV happening. It isn't happening. And, it takes me 25 minutes to get out there, and then you have to wait in line for a half an hour, and people are just not doing it. So I've been trying to figure out how do we do it. Penn Valley is doing it because they have a neighborhood group that picks up every month. All these people bring all their CRVs in, they take it down. They can't do it at Waste Management because it's too much for Waste Management to have. So they had to take it down to another recycler. And last time they got $900 for the stuff they took down. And they gave it to Interfaith Ministry as a donation, which I think is great. And if the schools could do this to, for fund some of their programs, that would be wonderful. So I'm definitely going to get your card and talk to you about it. But just to know that what's convenient in the big picture is not necessarily what's convenient on the ground. We're highly we're highly rural, you know, and I didn't really know that, but I think it's like 68% or more rural. So, and then the other thing I want to bring up, so I got to deal with the CRV thing. So then the other thing is the 1383. We've been way behind the ball, right? We just now, 2 days ago or something, like implemented it where we are. And it's a thing, you know, because people say, I compost, you know, and I don't have anything that needs to go. I don't have any trash. I have this much trash that goes to my neighbor's bin with his permission, but you know, that's all I have. And that's what people are saying. I don't need this. I don't want this. But they're saying it's a mandate. You have to do this. You have to do this. You have to have 3 bins. You have to, but we don't want it. And my neighbors said, I don't have a place to put it. I don't want it. I don't need it. So this is a problem. I don't know how we're dealing with this, but it's a problem for the people. So what do you do with this when it's a problem for the people? I know other people have been doing it for a couple, 3 years. How did they do it? You know, how did they deal with the people? So if you give me a little information about how we can help our people, because they're mad as hell. To be blunt.
Well, thank you. And thank you always for participating. You know, on CRV, I think that, again, we can give a little bit more information on the program and the projects that are eligible under the program. And that's also between Amy Cameron and Michelle Martin. And we're happy to provide those updates. The program is changing a lot and expanding. And as you heard today, there's, you know, updates on the dealer cooperatives, and those should be able to be up and running this year, which is pretty exciting. And hopefully it will contribute to convenience, especially in areas that have not had that as of yet. And we do know that it continues to be a problem throughout California, and we are providing grants. We're doing what we can to get more centers up and running or more programs up and running as fast as we can. But we are always happy to provide those details if you'd like more information.
Well, you know, let me know who to go to now, because your staff was wonderful. They ran me through the whole process of it, and finally it came down to, hey, it's a 5-mile radius thing, and don't bother to protest because it ain't gonna get you anywhere.
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, again, the program has a lot of complexity to it, and so if there is interest from school districts or from local programs, then I know Amy's team can walk you through what that would look like. And it really
you're saying
depends
ABC,
on the
what's that?
Sorry, Amy's team, so Amy Cameron,
Okay.
colleges, can walk you through how to access that. And then again, Michelle's team on the dealer cooperatives to see if there's interest in the area, if that's an opportunity as well. It really just depends on what the interest is in the area.
Well, let's see if we can figure something out, because, you know, Circular Economy, we have a board meeting, big planning meeting for the Board of Supervisors for the next 3 days. And so, you know, I'm going to talk to them tomorrow morning, and Circular Economy and Zero Waste are like, that's it. You know, that's where they have to go with this mess we've got around, you know. And so, yes, that would be very helpful. And I can talk to many, but thank you. Okay, you've always been very helpful, and I appreciate it. But we got to figure this one out.
Absolutely. And then on 1383, you know, 1383 is very important to CalRecycle. It is an opportunity for us to contribute to a climate solution, right? And we do know that people are confused in some areas of California of how to comply, but we do have a lot of good news on 1383 that can be shared. And I know Kara's team has been working very closely with the locals on figuring out compliance. So she would probably have more details on what's happening in your particular region. But we understand that there is some frustration and some misunderstanding, and we're definitely willing to work with locals who are interested in figuring out how to make that program more effective in their area. So
we'd love to help figure it out, because I believe in it. I want it to happen, and I try my best, and it did not happen. You know? Okay.
Well, there is a lot happening. I do want to emphasize that.
There's a lot happening out there.
Totally understand. But we do have a lot of good news to share, and I'm sure over the year we will be having updates on 1383.
I think this is a good program. Your chats, I didn't know about that. That sounds like a good thing. I can go back and listen to some of that and see. But I can join that, and I'll find out how to join that. But yeah, because I think, you know, okay. Thank you, and thank you again for all you do. It's a lot, and trying to control this enormous state, all this excess stuff. So, thank you.
Thank you.
zero waste in a circular economy is it? So I'm here to talk about the zero waste plan. My name is Evan Edgar, live from Sacramento on behalf of the California Compost Coalition. On Friday, there's a workshop all about zero waste, and it's going to be a big workshop. It's the censure report is a $2 million, $1.9 million study plus staff time, and there was a 2-hour workshop in last August, and then on your webpage there was a series of workshops and listening sessions that were supposed to happen in the fall, and I must have missed them, so I didn't see that go down at all, but it was definitely needed to have stakeholder engagement. I guess only Accenture input I'm going to get is probably at the Super Bowl this year. They probably do a commercial again, but there's been zero input or engagement with Accenture, and there's a lot of experts in the field on zero waste up and down the state, from NCRA to CAW to CRA, and we practice zero waste. So there's a lot of stakeholders out there, and these listening sessions would have been nice to have, but I haven't seen much of that. Plus, there's a coordination effort with what's going on with the rurals. There's another study that for the rurals that RCRC is doing, which is be nice to have them coordinated, same definitions or some type of level of coordination. I work with the rurals a lot with community compost hubs and carbon farming. There's a lot the rurals can do up till 2037 when they need to start maybe collecting organics in 1383. So they got 12 years. They don't have to do much, but you can do a lot because some people from Ferndale to Nevada City to some rurals, and they want to do stuff. We don't want to wait till 2037. So this rural plan by RCRC, I'm looking forward to some coordination with that. And what is zero waste? In your 5-page document you guys put out for Friday's workshop, it's not even defined by metrics. Some people define it different ways. There's 10 different definitions. It'd be nice to have one common definition with metrics so you can model it. Is it a qualitative thing? Quantitative? And here we are a year into this zero waste plan, and we still don't know what it means. I submitted comments last July of what zero waste means. It's not just tons. You guys did a baseline report on tons, but it goes back to the whole circular economy with life cycles, greenhouse gas reductions, what's it cost to the public. And I had pretty good comments on what to model. I said to model 75%. We can't get to zero waste without 75%, and to model what is zero waste with zero emissions. Instead, I think Accenture is going to model zero waste in 2035 and 2040, which is basically a waste of everybody's time. It's a futility and neutrality, because of the fact that CARB tried to do that with the scoping plan to model carbon neutral, but end of the day, it's 2045. I think we're at 42% in 2023 maybe, or 41%. There's no way possible we get to this zero waste by 2035. I think use your resources more wisely, because you probably won't have another shot at zero waste report for a while. When I talk about modeling 75%, I'm not the only one who's saying that. During the Les Ledge Analyst Office report last year on zero waste, get to 75% first. That's today's mandate, not tomorrow's dream. And you guys refuse to model it. I've been up here for a year, model 75%. We need to know when and how much. And you guys refuse to take those comments or acknowledge them, other than we're going to have a zero waste plan. Skinner's office, when she gave you the budget item, 75% was there too. So you got a lot of folks talking about model 75% and probably not happening, unfortunately, because I haven't seen much on it. I did ask for the Accenture report that was due on December 1st called the Recommendations Report. I asked for a PRA on it. I shouldn't have to, but I did. And I was told I couldn't get it till next Monday. The workshop's on Friday. And then after a bit asking, they want a delay, like, oh, you can't get this zero waste report that the public paid for until Monday. That doesn't help me on Friday when we have a big workshop all day long. We have a 5-page working document that's pretty weak on questions without any substance to it. So it'd be nice to get the recommendations report that's of record that you guys have, that to share it with the public for engagement with the stakeholders. When I talk about modeling zero waste in ZEVs, one of the governor's big agenda items is affordability, and we heard it after election. It's a big issue. The electrical rate's gone up 47% in 4 years. The low carbon fuel standard CARB board meeting was held after the election on a Friday, where the price will go up about 47 to 65 cents a gallon. What's not talked about is the garbage rates. And that's what the opportunity that this report has to do is, what is affordability index? Because that's the issue that we'll be talking about in 2025. When you have the Advanced Clean Fleet Rule, the waiver was not granted to CARB for the private fleets. I represent public and private fleets of 16,000 refuse trucks in California. Half are public, half on private. The private guys are going to get a four-year pause maybe on electrification, but the public fleets are still held hostage. And the public fleets are the ones with wastewater that you guys gave grants for to make biomethane to put back into the truck. So you guys are doing great work on your biomethane for wastewater and working with CASA. But we're not on the PUC pipeline, and we can't put it into the pipeline to hard to decarbonize communities. We want to use it ourselves. So when you do model ZEVs, what is happening with a ZEV market, it's half the payload, twice the cost. Tastes expensive, less filling. Basically, it's going to be very expensive to go to zero waste with zero emissions, about 100%. So the local government just spent 20 to 30% on 1383. I doubt we can spend another 100% on ZEVs and zero waste. Essential Report should be modeling this. My comments from last July asked about it, got stonewalled again, no input. I asked for engagement, public engagement. We're the fleet guys that got to pick up the stuff. We know the cost, and it's going to be expensive. We're the composters. We're the bioenergy guys. We are the circular economy of today, not a dream of tomorrow, where the Advanced Clean Fleets are going to recarbonize the fleets. We're carbon negative by 110 today in the state of California for the refuse fleet. By electrifying, it would be plus 10. So they're asking to undo the circular economy so we can recarbonize a fleet at 100% surcharge for affordability. Something's wrong with this picture. It's a huge lost opportunity if this report doesn't cover that. It's a $2 million study. You want to model something that can't happen in 2035 and 2040. I got valid comments, so I'll be making this again on Friday. We have a whole day, but please, can I get a copy of the Essential Report before Friday? Since a lot of work's been into this and the general public deserves to know. I want to know. I will report back on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. And we did receive your email as well. And as you mentioned, we do have the discussion document up, and we are looking forward to everyone participating and your participation in the workshop on Friday. Did you want to add anything?
Thank you, Evan. I just wanted to really appreciate your engagement and your participation in the zero waste plan process. We're excited about Friday, and we're excited to hear more. I know you have more to share, I'm sure, but just wanted to remind everyone that this is, it's a public process, and we're really encouraging all parties to engage and participate, especially during our public workshop. So just sending a reminder for Friday to everybody. From 9:30 to 3:30 p.m. So it's almost a whole day. I know it's a Friday and it's almost a whole day session. We're trying to not have it until 5 p.m. So that's why we're stopping at 3:30. But again, everyone is really encouraged to engage then.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Ravines. I live in Nevada County and am working with Shirley on various things. And it mostly comes down to climate change, because I know how the importance of our waste and the portion that it takes regarding climate change. And when I was thinking about coming to you today, I thought, oh my God, they are actually, CalRecycling, are the people that actually get it. They know that this is what we have to do, and we have to encourage you, I guess it sounds like, but we really, we spend so much time, people who care about these issues, trying to get people to understand what's being done and why it's being done. We haven't gotten to that threshold yet by any means, and that's really part of our problem here today. I think that there's a number of things. I would have congratulate you. You've been doing it for all these years. I looked up, I think it was about 10 years old for CalRecycle, but I seem to remember, I grew up in Berkeley, seems to remember there was more beyond that earlier too. But I really came to find out more, and also to just say applause to you all. You're all, and all the people back there and working on these issues. Thank you. I know it's a struggle. I do it on a very small level, but it is a struggle. And Shirley's right about the 3 cans. I have a very little amount of cans, but now that I'm composting with the green cans and organics and stuff, I'm not sure it's the best way for many people to go, because they might not be needing that 3rd can. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for participating. But we do have a fantastic team at CalRecycle and lots of dedicated folks who understand these issues and work very, very hard to do the work that we do here at CalRecycle. So thank you for recognizing the staff, because they're amazing.
I just also wanted to add, we do have a pretty detailed guidebook on home composting. We also have a vermicomposting webpage and a home composting webpage for those who want to take any composting on at home. We have a lot of support and detailed directions as well.
Hi, Shira Lane with, with Atrium 916, Creative Innovation Center for Sustainability here in Sacramento. One, it'd be great if we could do these meetings on Zoom. It'd be so great for all the people that can't attend. Then we wouldn't have the delay, and it'd be a lot easier for people to unmute. I myself had some issues. So if that's a possibility, that would be amazing. 2, on the recycling, we have been piloting a project that we got a small grant from Burning Man to do, and that's kind of an art installation that collects CRV, and it opens up on either side for unhoused or scavengers to come and collect. It doesn't fit into any of the programs that you guys are doing, just because we're not giving back the CRV to the customer. It's just in a tourist area. The tourists then put it back in, the unhoused come and collect it, and then it gets emptied. We have never emptied it ourselves. It gets full and it gets emptied. And it's just a great way for people to participate in a creative way. We really think that this could be a solution. It doesn't fit into any of the current programs, but just a thought. And it also helps the unhoused, and it's kind of cool. And it employs local artists to make art installations that actually collect it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more comments in the room today? Okay, we will now take public comments by phone. And again, if you're calling in, your microphones will stay muted till you're called on by the last 4 digits of your phone number. Once you're called in, please mute your computer sound so that we don't have an echo. And additionally, if you're calling in, you can listen in on the Zoom call to listen for when you're called, so that there isn't a delay between when we call your number and when you hear it from the delay on the webcast. Do we have any callers still?
Yes, we have a new caller on the line, 8914. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Good morning. This is Gary Adams from Advanced Disposal. We're located in the city of Hesperia in the high desert region of San Bernardino County. Our question is regarding SB 1383, the prescribed quarterly organic sampling calculation that's used in that quarterly sampling. As you're aware, the calculation used determines the organics recovery rate based on the amount of organic material recovered and sent off for that day versus the weight of the material sent to landfill during that same day. It's our understanding that that calculation basically self-haul tonnage is exempt from that calculation. The thing we're experiencing is our self-haul tonnage is commingled with our MRF residual tonnage. And our question is, how can we account for maybe discount that residual tonnage from self-haul versus the tonnage going to landfill?
Well, thank you for calling in. It's a fairly technical question, so I'm going to look to Deputy Director Morgan to give us some info. But it does also sound like it's something that we need to deal with and figure out the details on, so a meeting may be better.
Yeah, I agree, Mindy. Thank you so much for questions and comments. What I'd like to do is get a meeting set up with some of our key team members, and we can kind of talk through what you're experiencing, what the requirements are. Would that be okay?
Yes, that'd be terrific.
Great. I'll be sure to follow up and get something scheduled.
Thank you.
Okay, we have two other callers on the line. Let's go back to 6607. Leonard, if you're still on the line, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Yes, thank you. There were a few things earlier that I want to touch bases on. Number one, and in the policy section of the presentation, which got past me, you talked about the dealer co-ops. Now that rulemaking package has gone off to OAL, as I understand. I did comment that you were imposing standards on the co-ops that weren't imposed on recyclers, and I found no authority. Now, one of the more recent meetings on the subject, I think it was John Kennedy from rural counties, made the same comment. If it's gone off to OAL, do you expect blowback on not dealing with authority?
Thank you, Mr. Lang. And the package is at OAL, and we are ready for any questions that they might have for us and prepared for that process.
Okay, thank you. Next, in dealing with the grants for the CRV program, I'm reminded of in the beginning of the program with RVM's, one of the companies was in VIPCO, and all they had were aluminum machines, and they immediately went to the legislature because I think they had it put in the bill to get a subsidy. So Californians paid for the creation of those machines, which in VIPCO didn't have. And it's like deja vu all over again with the grants and the money going for reverse vending. They're high-cost machines with low payloads, and over time with high maintenance cost, and they're less desirable to the general public. So I just wanted to comment that this is deja vu all over again. They're not going to be beneficial, and they're limited as to what they can do and help the recovery rate of beverage containers. In the grants, some of the grants are directed towards unserved areas. I have a simple question. How much of the state is covered as underserved areas?
That's a good question. I think it would depend on whether you're talking about the percentage of population or the percentage of land. So I think that would be a question that maybe we could direct towards Deputy Director Cameron's team. Do you want to send in an email?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, there was a public meeting on rulemaking for hearings, and somehow that skipped me, and I spoke to other people, they got skipped, but I went back and I was notified. I just missed it with all the information. Is the list of attendees for that meeting available by PRA?
I would have to check with our legal team, but I am sure if we did keep a list of the attendees that it would be available by PRA because that is a public record. So I would have to check with the team, but you're welcome to make that inquiry and we will provide any public record that we have.
Super. And the lady who was in favor of Zoom meetings, I second that. Finally, it's my understanding that the department is engaged in implementing a new computer system, an ERP system. Is that correct?
An ERP team? Are you thinking of the CRIS program, or not quite sure what you might be referring to? But we're again happy to provide any details if you give us a few more details on that question.
Well, are you moving into or attempting to move into a new, more comprehensive system, information system?
Information for it, yeah, it depends on what information you're talking about. But yes, we are developing the CRIS program, which I think we had a.
And what is that called again?
The CRIS program, and I'm gonna have to look to the team to remind me what the acronyms is. It's a long one.
It's the
Help.
Centralized integrated information.
Yeah, and it's been in progress for a while, and this is, again, public information, and it has been in the budget for a number of years. So the CRIS program, we can get you the follow-up on that IT program, which I'm sure a lot of people are giving me on email right now, but it is a very large program and will replace Doris eventually.
And that thank you. I was wondering about that. Let me say this, that it's been my experience that there's not been heavy, excuse me, not been heavy involvement by industry that would use these systems. And sometimes there are changes made to these systems that are not beneficial to the industry. And I consider myself a part of the industry. I kind of think of the doctor's credo, first do no harm. Will there be a request for input from those that use and depend on these systems? For example, at one point in time, we could go on the CalRecycle website and go to About Us and find employees or sections that we had business with and wanted to direct questions or comments to. That's no longer available. That evolved into a personnel list with EPA, and now that's even disappeared. So it's not easy to find people. And I'm reminded at one of the meetings that the director for Wine Institute complained about how difficult it was to get around the websites. And that's my concern. So are we going to have an opportunity to say what features we want in these systems?
Well, I did get the name. It's the CalRecycle Integrated Information System, shortened to CRIS. So thank you for that. And then we did have, again, a public process with the BCP, which is our budget process, which explains the program. And we did do hearings through that process, but also through the public contracting process. So I'm sure we will get additional input from others, but that's still very much in process right now in the development of CRIS. So looking forward to more engagement as we move forward.
Well, I'd like to make a recommendation that in any event, you have a feedback system whereby those that use the system and depend on it can make recommendations on an ongoing basis. We are in an information society, and it seems so far we're a little backwards in the approach. And I thank you.
Thank you.
We have one last call on the line, 6335. I'm going to ask you to unmute. $6335. I'm not sure if we have a connection problem. Not receiving response from 6335.
that it? Okay. All right, so you can find the recording of today's January 2025 monthly public meeting posted to CalRecycle's YouTube channel as soon as possible. Please follow our social media platforms and GovDelivery email lists for updates. Let us know if there's anything we can do to be helpful in these public meetings. And we just want to thank everyone who participated and commented today. And we will see you next month.